If you run a business with any kind of support inbox, you know how quickly responding and routing tickets can get out of hand. Billing questions, technical bugs, shipping complaints, general inquiries all land in the same place. Someone has to read each one, figure out who should handle it, forward it to the right team, and remember to reply to the customer, all before any actual support work happens. This triage process is slow, inconsistent, and completely automatable. This project uses Claude AI, Claude Haiku 4.5, to read and classify each incoming ticket, then routes it to the right team automatically. The customer gets an instant acknowledgement via email. Your team gets a formatted Slack notification with the ticket details. Everything is logged to PostgreSQL with the AI's reasoning stored per row so that you have a full audit trail. If you want to learn how to integrate Claude into a real workflow or how to build event-driven automation on Pipedream, this project gives you a production-ready pattern you can adapt for your own support setup. Hello and welcome to Business Automation Library. My name is Masan and today we're building an AI-powered support ticket classification system using Pipedream and Claude Haiku 4.5. When a support email comes in, this system automatically reads it, classifies the category and urgency using Claude, routes it to the right Slack channel, sends a submitter an auto reply with their ticket ID and expected response time, and logs everything to a PostgreSQL database, all under 5 seconds with no manual intervention. We'll go through the architecture, walk through each step in the Pipedream workflow, and see the complete system working end to end. All files are shared in GitHub. Links are included in the description. Chapters are also linked, so feel free to skip ahead to any section that you want. Now let's go over how this system is structured. Everything starts with an email. A customer sends a message to a special Pipedream generated email address, and that fires our workflow automatically. The first step normalizes the raw email data, extracting the sender's name, email address, subject, and body generates a unique ticket ID. The second step then sends that ticket to Claude AI. Claude reads the subject and body and returns a structured classification, the category, billing, technical, shipping, or general, the urgency level being critical, high, medium, or low, and the sentiment with a numeric score. The third step then takes that classification and builds the routing decision. Which Slack channel to post to, what the SLA target is, what the Slack message should say, and what the auto reply email should contain. Then three steps run in parallel. The first inserts the full ticket record into PostgreSQL. The second posts the formatted notification to the right Slack channel, and the third sends an HTML auto reply to the submitter via SendGrid. That's a complete pipeline. One email in, 5 steps later, everything is handled. Before we start building this project, here's a high-level checklist of what you'll need. First is a Pipedream account, which you can sign up for free at pipedream.com. Next is Neon Postgres, another free online resource, neon.tech. Next is an Anthropic API key, so you can go to console.anthropic.com and create an API key there. Next is a Slack workspace. You can connect to an existing Slack workspace or create a new one with a free trial for this project. And you'll want to create 4 Slack channels. Of course, we'll go through that later. Next is a SendGrid account. And this is also a free resource at sendgrid.com. Now we'll go through setting up all the accounts that we need for this workflow. First step is let's go to pipedream.com and just sign up. So I've already created my account, but we'll just get that set up. First thing you can do is create a new project, call it support ticket automation or something similar. I've already created my project, so I'll click into that. Next thing you want to do is create a workflow. So I'll call this ticket pipeline, and I'll create this one as a test. And then you'll be in your blank workflow. Next step is setting up your online database. So this is neon.tech. I'll log into my account, but you can set up your own. And you'll immediately see a screen like this. First thing to do again is just create a new project, support ticket test. And then in your SQL editor, you want to copy and paste ema.sql from the GitHub repository. This is going to set up the skeleton of your tables that this workflow will write to. So you can copy that in and then hit run. Next is your API key. So you want to go to platform.claude.com, connect your account, and get an API key. Next is your Slack account. So I already have one set up, but of course you could create a new workspace yourself, and there's a trial period that's associated, so you should be able to test out this project. Next is to go to your Slack account and actually set up 4 channels. So it's easy to set up a channel. You just go to channels up here and you can type in support, test, or support, whatever routing categories that you want to create for this workflow. Next, you want to go to api.slack.com and you want to create a new app from scratch using the configuration that is shown in the technical guide. So you want to select the app name and then where it will be created in terms of workspace. Next, you want to go to SendGrid. Again, just log in using your email. This is another free workflow. I'll just log in after I get my code. Okay, so now we have all of our accounts set up. All right, now we're going to actually build the Pipedream workflow. So on the right-hand side here, I have the Pipedream canvas set up. On the left-hand side, I have my GitHub repository with all of my scripts. So the first thing we need to do is add an email trigger. So go to the trigger, search for email, new email. First thing that pops up is this email address. This is our email that will trigger the workflow. So I'll actually create a test email of a support ticket. So support needed API key not working. Hello, I need help with my API key. So this should give us a real use case that the automation can be built off of, and we can test each step of the workflow. So now we have our test event created. We can go back to the canvas. The next thing we'll create is a Python node. We'll run Python code. We'll go to pd normalized ticket.py. It's the first step in this process. We'll copy all of this code. We want to make sure that this is labeled correctly. So first we'll just run a test to make sure it works. Okay, great. So it returned all of the outputs that we're expecting. Okay, so it says, hello, I need help with my API key. Okay, great. So it's returning the right email we just sent. Let's just rename this normalize ticket. The next step is to classify the ticket. So this is actually where the AI call to, or API call to Claude Haiku 4.5 will happen. So again, on my left-hand side, I have this relative script. I'll copy the code, and this will create the classification I need. I'm calling Claude Haiku 4.5. So again, I'll test this. Key error normalized ticket. Okay, what's going on here? These names need to be very specific, so let me just make sure I have the right string here. Let's search for normalized ticket. The names seem like they match up, so let me test this again. And then I'll test this again. Okay, now it works. So It seemed like maybe I had an extra space or something. All right, so we'll name this classify ticket. The next step we'll need is the routing decision. Let me run this again just to make sure it works. Okay, now I'm in, again, I'll create another Python node. I'm just going to name it now. That way I don't run into that later. So I'll call this build routing decision. Again, I just referenced the code on the left-hand side. My GitHub repository, copy, test. Okay, so we're getting all the outputs that we were expecting. Next step is log to Postgres. So another Python node will create. We'll rename it. Then let's get the code for this. Oops. Test just to make sure it works. Okay, we're getting our ticket ID, database ID, great. And then we'll go back to the scripts. And the last thing is, or actually second to last thing is posting to Slack. So again, another Python payload. Okay, that's created. We're getting our Slack channel that it's posting to, support technical with the ticket ID. Let's just quickly verify that. So on my support technical channel, I see my ticket ID. Let's look at the output. TKT52B2E15E, which matches up with this, so it just posted at 2:59, which matches the time. Okay, now let's go to Canvas. The last step is send reply email. So this will actually trigger the email that gets sent back to the client, letting them know that their request was received. So go here, hit test. Return email was successfully sent to automatedglobe@gmail.com. So one thing to note is Gmail will probably flag these as spam. So you just want to watch out for that. But the email should be coming in soon. Okay, so the email finally came in. This matches the ticket number 52BE. Okay. All right, so that is our entire workflow created. Let me just rename this the right thing, send reply email. And that's it. That's our entire workflow. So we send an email, or the client sends an email to the email trigger, which then normalizes the ticket, classifies it, builds a routing decision, logs it to Postgres, and then sends a Slack channel post, and then a reply email sent to the client. If you complete the workflow, then you just hit deploy, and then it'll be live. So any future emails we can test with that. Now we'll run a test to make sure it works comprehensively. So we'll run a test, we'll send to the email that they specify, and we'll just have a general support item this time. Let's make it high priority, but general. So we'll say urgent help needed. Is there someone I can talk to? This should be a general request and it should be high priority. So let's see how this comes through. We'll send it. We can go to Pipedream and we're on the live events panel. So we'll see it pop up soon and start to process. Okay, now we see it starting to execute. Urgent help needed. Okay, so it goes into our support general Slack channel and ranks it a medium. The AI reasoning is interesting here. It's a medium urgency due to customers' frustration and use of urgent despite vague details. Fair enough. I think if we were more specific, maybe it would have ranked it higher. Interesting. Okay, so at this point, you can always adjust your prompt to maybe if it's any sort of negative sentiment, that could always be in high escalation. But of course, that's something you could adjust specific to your workflow. Okay, so I think that shows the test. Maybe we can do one more example. We'll do a technical or a billing example. We can do both and we'll fire them both up at the same time. Okay, so first one is billing help. I have a large charge that I don't recall proving. Please advise. That'll be our first one. Send another one. API key is not working. Critical platform functionality is down due to API key failure. So we already got a response in the support billing channel. Let's go there. Um, got a high classification this time, which makes sense due to a large billing concern. This could spiral out of control quickly. And let's go to our support technical channel. We also have a critical, which is fair because one of our customers' entire platform functionality is completely broken due to the API key not working. So we want to resolve that as quickly as possible. And let's just go to our folder here and we can see the emails are coming back so that our clients know that their request has been logged and that we're working on it. Awesome. All right, this brings us to the cost, time, and skills section. In terms of costs, development costs are extremely low. The only thing that you might have to pay for if you don't already have it is a Slack account. So if you want to get a Slack subscription or, probably whatever your business already uses, I know there's other messaging channels, or maybe you want to do this completely on email. So of course you'll have to configure that specific section, but the general architecture will work the same. Pipedream and Neon, that is relatively low cost. And unless you plan on having a lot more volume than what is shown here, it should be able to cover most use cases. Next would be SendGrid. Again, very low cost and probably able to support whatever volume you have. Of course, this is assuming that this is applied on a small to medium business. Next, in terms of time and skill, this would only take probably a couple of hours, even for a beginner, to implement because of how straightforward and simple going to each of these services are. I ran into almost no issues when setting up the configuration, just making sure that you follow the guide in terms of setting up your environment keys. That's when you'll most get caught up is setting up all of your credentials within Pipedream. In terms of skill, again, entry level project that I would say almost anyone can do. And if you wanted to have a more refined output in terms of your ticket classification, you could work on your Anthropic Claude prompt. Other than that, I think it's a very approachable project for pretty much anyone. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our support ticket automation workflow. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to build your arsenal of business automations to help streamline your work so you can focus on the important things like growing your business or exploring new opportunities. Thank you so much for watching.